Hey, it's Adrienne and it's day 17 of my video challenge, and today I've got what I think is a really important message. I am a professional communicator. That means I do a lot of speaking and writing and getting my message out there. But I'm also a master communicator, I think, in terms of listening. And I think that's what makes me a great copywriter. And one of the things that I realize and I get asked about a lot is, how are you so non-reactive to things? You know, with people I disagree with politically. I'm great at disarming arguments and conflict and de-escalating all kinds of situations. And I think this is something that I've been thinking about that I really want to share with you. It's going to be really helpful for any of you who have anxiety or are just all getting into fights online to think about. So I want to talk about the message behind the message and communication. So for example, we have all these things that happen to us and then we make an interpretation of it. So an example is my son's girlfriend is Asian. Her parents, she's of Hmong heritage. Well, at Christmas time, one of the older family members gave her like a geisha doll sort of thing. And she was like, okay, is this race? She's just like, this is not my culture. And I said, well, if you just think about the meaning behind the meaning, this person was trying to create a bridge to say, we accept you. Like we see that you're different and so they're trying to build a bridge. So in that case, I was like, you can choose to be offended or you can choose to say this person's trying to throw an olive branch and I have to decide, how I'm going to accept that. Same thing happens online with like politics, for example, and, some really big issues. So for example, I am pro-life. And I've got friends, I went to Catholic high school. I've got friends who are, no, I'm not pro-life. I'm pro-choice. I am pro-life, but I am pro-choice. So but I went to Catholic school and I have a lot of friends who are staunch pro-life. And while you could say, okay, those things are a total disagreement, what I can do is I can look behind the message and say, this person loves babies. And that is a very noble cause. Babies are wonderful. I love babies. And I believe pro-life should be, choosing life should be more than just conception, right? So if you're going to be pro-life, you have to think about other things about like, what do you do? How do you handle unwanted babies? So it's, how do we create a support mechanism so that we can have less abortions, less unwanted pregnancies, less consternation, less kids that are beaten and abused and neglected. So it's a big issue that I don't want to go too deep into, but I think it's really helpful to, when you start to feel very agitated and conflicted about what somebody is saying, is to really think, like, is there common ground in the message behind the message? Is there a different way that I could interpret this? The other way that I see people doing this is it can also be in an anxiety mode, right? So if you and your spouse are fighting, for example, you can come home and say, how was your day? And if your spouse is unemployed or underemployed, they might hear, well, what'd you do all day? All you said was, how was your day? And they're hearing, well, what'd you do? Would you just sit around and play Xbox all day? That's not what you said. So remember that communication is both speaking and also receiving. And I think we have to be a little more diligent about our receiving of messages and less self-righteous and less jumping on the you're wrong and I'm right train. So that is my food for thought for today. Thank you.